Hello everyone, my name is Nataris Meirinda Artha with student number 123231235. Today, I will talk about a very interesting and also sensitive topic. Why some museums are filled with stolen objects. This is based on the clip I watched and also some references about colonial history and cultural heritage. Museums are places where people go to learn about history and culture. They are often seen as safe space where knowledge and art are preserved for future generations. But sometimes, the story behind the object inside is not so simple. Many of them were taken during colonial times from countries in Africa, Asia, and other parts of the world. So, let's explore this together. During the 19th and 20th century, European powers like Britain, France, and others had colonized around the world. They collected or sometimes stole cultural objects from these colonies. For example, the British Museum in London has the Rosetta Stone from Egypt and the Benin bronze from Nigeria. These objects were not given freely. They were taken during wars or colonial occupation. Another example is the Parthenon marble from Greece, which were removed by Lord Elgin and brought to Britain. These cases show how museums became full of treasures that were not originally theirs. For Western countries, museums became a symbol of civilization and modern culture. They show power, knowledge, and control. Owning these objects was like saying, "We are the center of the world." But for the countries that lost their heritage, it was a painful history. Imagine if something very important to your culture, like a temple statue or a royal crown, was taken away and displayed somewhere else. This is why today many people ask, should these objects be returned? There are two sides in this debate. On one side, museums say they protect the objects and make them available for global audiences. They argue that culture belongs to everyone and that museums are safe places compared to unstable regions. On the other side, communities from the original country say, these objects are part of our identity, our history, and they were taken without permission, so they should go back. For them, it's not only about the object itself, but also about dignity and justice. For example, Nigeria has asked for the Benin bronze to be returned. Greece has asked for the Parthenon marbles from the British Museum. Egypt has asked for the Rosetta Stone. These requests are part of what we call repatriation, process of returning cultural heritage to its home. Some museums have started to respond. In recent years, Germany agreed to return to some Benin bronze to Nigeria. This shows that change is possible, but it's slow and complicated. This issue is not only about history, but also about ethics and justice. Museums are not neutral. They are part of colonial power structure. Keeping stolen objects can be seen as continuing colonialism in another form. It's like saying, we still own your culture. That's why many scholars and activists call for decolonizing museums. Decolonizing means rethinking how museums collect, display, and explain their objects and giving more voice to the community of origin. If we connect this to Western cultural civilization, museums are part of mass culture, just like fashion brands or cinema. They produce and distribute culture to the public. In modernism, culture was mass-produced and consumed by large audiences. Museums became part of this system. They were not only about education but also about entertainment and national pride. Visiting a museum became a popular activity, just like watching a movie or buying clothes. This shows how culture was shaped by industrial production and mass politics. Today, in the digital age, this debate also appears in pop culture. People make memes about the British Museum, joking that everything here is stolen. These memes are funny, but they also show awareness of colonial history. It's similar to surrealist or Dada art in the interwar period, which use absurdity to criticize power. Now, memes and internet culture continue that tradition in a new form. For example, on social media, people share jokes about how the British Museum could even steal your pen if you visit. These jokes are simple, but they carry a serious message. Museums must face their colonial past. We can also connect this to geopolitics today. Countries are more vocal about their cultural rights. For example, China has asked for objects taken during the Opium Wars. India has asked for the Koh-i-Noor diamond, which is now part of the British crown jewel. These demands are part of a larger movement where nations want to reclaim their history and identity. In a globalized world, culture is not only about art, but also about politics and power. Another interesting point is how young people see this issue. For many students and activists, museums are not just about places of learning, but also places of debate. They ask, who decides what culture is? Who has the right to tell the story? This critical thinking is important because it shows that culture is not fixed, it's always negotiated, and museums must adapt to new values. So, museums are important places for learning, but we must also ask critical questions about how their collections were made. Many objects were taken during colonial times, and today, there is a strong movement for repatriation. This connects with bigger themes in Western cultural civilization, modernism, mass culture, and the legacy of colonialism. It also connects with contemporary pop culture, where memes and digital art continue the tradition of criticizing power through humor and absurdity. I believe talking about this topic helps us understand not only history but also our responsibility today. Museums can still be places of knowledge and inspiration, but they must also be places of justice and respect. That's all. Thank you for listening to my podcast. I am Nataris and see you next time. Don't forget to like,